RadioZero.
It's Radio Zero with Rick and Rose. Welcome to hell.
Wow, that's a different voice.
That's the voice of failure. Hold on. Now I can't. I don't. Yeah. Welcome. Okay. Welcome to April 25th, 2025. We're a little late, but we're not pregnant.
We're live streaming on Facebook, on the Radio Zero page and Poster Children page, on Twitch at PCJC USA, and on the Poster Children YouTube channel. Try to do 5 p.m. Central every other week. But you can also subscribe to the podcast in a non-linear? No. Asynchronous format. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, RadioZero.us.
Are we non-linear also? This looks pretty good. I'm trying to get us on the up. I don't know why. Like, I'm doing this old school. I'm looking on the Facebook page, but you're like going through. You're going through the Elon Musk satellite, right?
You can patronize us at patreon.com/RadioZero, and oops, hold on.
Romper,
oh my
bumpers,
God.
stomper, boo.
No way.
Tell me, do. Tell me, magic mirror today. Did all of my friends have fun at play?
Got a new
Wow.
patron.
Is it Bob Mould?
Frank G.
Oh, Frank G, welcome. Wait, okay, this is a Poster Children. This is Radio Zero, so there's one on each side of the Facebook. Welcome, Frank G. Thank you so much for patronizing us. Do we know, is it Frank Gary? What's that? Is that the special, I like imagine like a little rat like going behind me like on a unicycle? What's that?
Oh, it just keeps going.
Is that you giving yourself a B12 shot?
It's the closing music of Romper Room.
Oh, okay. All right. So
Very important.
Did we hit like a divisible by 5?
We hit our goal.
Sponsors?
We hit our
You've been hanging out with Matt too much.
No,
I just want to.
It was NPR. They were doing. That was last week.
Right. Oh, that's right. The
pledge goal. We hit our pledge goal. Everyone, thank you, everyone.
Thank you for patronizing us. Well, I just want to say,
please write your senators and tell them not to
deport us.
All right.
I interrupted you. What were you gonna say? Was it funnier than that?
No.
Okay. The bar was low, though, So, I just want to say I've been sitting here like I was thinking I'm so sad. I'm like I've got like this I'm in limbo here, and I'm like a sad person, and then like something else happens, and it's like it's way more fucked up than my situation, and then something else happens that is even fuckeder up than that situation. It's just like you think you're sad because you can't find your fucking sock, and then all of a sudden somebody's dead, and then all of a sudden somebody else gets like a fucking what I'm trying to think of.
Somebody loses a leg and they don't need that second sock.
They don't need the sock, right? So I think you should all examine your situation.
What if somebody has something bad happening to them?
I mean, I don't even have something bad happening.
You're just assuming that everyone's being a complainer.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, maybe nobody else is complaining.
No,
but like
I'm saying other people may have something terrible happening to them.
Yeah. It may be even worse than my terrible thing, which is like by comparison, just not terrible at all. Like I can't believe how fucking privileged I am, and how I'm like sitting around just like moping to death.
You'll find that sock.
Actually. Oh my God! You're not going to believe this.
No, I do believe it, because I noticed a while ago.
Look at this.
There is a
And I
sock,
have- yeah,
and
and I
there's
have
another
two
one
legs.
on my side. So you took these
I
socks
took them off here, yeah,
when we-
because you know why? Because my ankles were probably hurting.
We were doing an interview.
Oh, okay. All right. So, I was going to complain about my life situation, and I feel like not complaining about it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So, we have anything else to talk about
No,
besides my complaining about? Well, go on. What do you got to say?
I don't have anything to complain about.
Okay. Well, not to complain about.
Not compared to you.
Yeah. I'm waiting to find out if I got a job offer or not. I'm waiting, and the thing is that I've been waiting for too long. Like what's pretty obvious is I didn't get it, and so it's the other part of the waiting where they tell you, "Sorry, you failed. You're a failure." Like we.
You know what Tom Petty said.
What did he say?
The waiting is the hardest part.
Yeah, and I mean, on the other side of this job, it was like, hey, what kind of breast cancer do you have? Is it really bad or just bad? And it's like, and here I am like, ooh, do I have a job or not? It's just terrible. And so like, I feel like I hurt myself in my ego. I hurt my feelings. I hurt my own feelings. Whatever my nephew said, like the greatest quote in the world, I hurt my own feelings. So I'm dealing with ego right now, and I'm like wallowing in like, wow, I tried to do something and I failed, and I realizing that I don't really try a lot of things. I don't think I usually just if I know if I'm going to be good, it's like I know if I'm going to, it's kind of like one of those pledge drives or something where you've already gone over, so then you start asking for pledges and stuff, but you've already accomplished it. I think I don't usually try for things.
Interesting.
I'm not a very ambitious person. Like I don't try for contests,
Contests.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm waiting for all of the, oh, I'm so sorry that you failed. Like that's going to be all next week. It's just like, I'm so sorry you're a failure. And that's nothing compared to people getting scammed, or I'm trying to think of what else. People dying. People losing their jobs even. I was sitting in front of my class today, and I was like, I don't remember what I was talking about, like perspectives and stuff, and I was saying, like sometimes you're driving down the road, but and I was trying to talk about people not showing up on time to class and why they may not have shown up to class on time. I was standing there, and I noticed the clock said 9:05. Like the clock in the back of the room, and the class starts at 9, and the class was not there yet. Like half the people weren't there yet, and it said 9:05. And I know each time I realize that the clock is fast. Like the university clock, the one on the wall, is like 5 minutes fast. So I was commenting that like people like whoever's a grad assistant or a teacher or whoever's teaching in that room, because it's kind of a nondescript room that anybody could teach in, so it's like for like Com 100 classes that I'm teaching in, so it could be anybody teaching in there, and they every single day they look up and they see it's 9:05, and they're like, these fucking kids are not are late, and kids are coming in right at 9 and they're not late, and the professor would think they were late. So I was talking about that in the class, and then I said, sometimes you're driving down the road and then somebody cuts you off and you're like, that motherfucker, but it could be somebody who's pregnant trying to get to the hospital, or like having a baby, like their water broke, or it could be somebody having a heart attack. You don't know. And then like somebody raises their hand and said, yeah, but at least they could put on their signal, even if they're having a heart attack. And I was like, yeah, you're right, dude. So.
Yeah. Everybody who's an a-hole is dying.
Happy Friday, Danon. Danon, I think I saw every so often I see Danon and I don't know how to pronounce your name. I don't know if it's Danon or Danon. You should tell me. Give like a little pronunciation guide, please. But I see you often like in like at a show with like some famous person. There's like a picture. You get out and see cool stuff. So, and speaking of that, we had an interesting show, right, this week. Do you want to talk about that?
No. Sure. Let's talk about it. Oh. I've upset
I'm
you.
ready. You haven't upset me. I'm ready. I'm really ready to jump out a window, like a first floor window.
First floor window.
Yeah, not
Don't
a
worry,
second.
anyone.
Yeah, don't worry. And I had a lot of caffeine just right before this too, so I'm like, so we got to perform with Mr. Bob Mould.
We opened for
Yeah. We got to drive up to Minneapolis. All right, so we had
St.
a trip.
Paul.
We went to Minneapolis, St. Paul. But so think about how, like, all right, so for me, Bob Mould, I don't know if we talked about this last time, but you and I saw a Husker Du show before we were going out. I think it was the night. Did we talk about this the last Radio Zero?
I don't remember.
Danon. Okay. All right. He's nothing like the yogurt. Haha.
Mm-hmm.
We went to see a Husker Du show, and I remember like thinking, man, I really like this guy. Also I like Bob Mould. He was Bob Mould. I have to practice saying Mould. I love Bob Mould's voice. I loved Husker Du. They were great. And then I think you drove me home, and I think that we shook hands, and you had these leather gloves on back when you were wearing leather, or probably pleather. And I was thinking, God, what a soft hand you had. And then we both looked up, like in my parents' house, my driveway. We looked up and we saw this shooting star shoot towards the moon. And the moon was a crescent moon. Do you remember that?
I do, but I remember it as you driving me home, and it was the van that your parents' Ford van.
That makes
And
more
then
sense that I drove
in front
you
of my
home.
parents' house. But
Yeah, that makes more sense.
And I feel like it wasn't after the Husker Du show. I felt it was after a rehearsal, but it might have been.
We may have rehearsed and then gone to a Husker Du show.
Yeah.
But also,
It all happened around the same time.
why would we be rehearsing in Chicago?
Over a winter break, we went to somebody's, I can't remember whose house we were at, and we rehearsed.
All right. Well, anyway, so but we saw the shooting star, and then we started going out together after a while, like right. So that always Husker Du is very romantic to me, even though they're gay, right?
Wow.
Even though Bob Mould, right?
Because we all know they're not romantic. Those people. This is
Right
Grandma,
out there. I've got the path. I'm going to go right out that window.
Great Grandma Rose.
Not that there's anything wrong with it. So anyway, I've always I love Bob Mould's voice. I loved Husker Du. We got to play shows with like Porcupine when Greg Norton was in it, and he jumps higher than me on the stage, and like he's probably a better martial artist than me because he does Taekwondo, and I've talked about that before.
And he's a man.
And he's so lovely too. I love him. Thanks, Cody. Happy birthday to you too. So I was just really, and then I met him at Pygmalion because we were on that panel together, and I loved him. He's really smart. I loved his book, and so it was really fun to know that we were going to get to open for them in Minneapolis, St. Paul, because Husker Du is from Minneapolis. It was so cool. And so we drove up early. Remember, we drove up to Minneapolis, St. Paul. We stayed in a nice hotel, which is different than, when we were on tour. And then we went to the Walker. What else did we do?
We ate at the Leaning Tower of Pizza.
Yeah, that was okay. Yeah, we had our kid with us. So you want to talk about the Walker?
Maybe. I'm trying to remember the last time we were there.
It was a long, long time
Was it?
ago. Hey, Jalen.
I mean, was it when we played a show in 1989?
Yeah, probably, because I remember the spoon. Who's the spoon?
Is that Rauschenberg? No, not Rauschenberg.
No. Kuntz?
No, can't remember. Klaus Oldenburg.
Oldenburg. Right? Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if we've been there since. Yeah, so
we haven't been to the Walker. We've been to Minneapolis.
Yeah, no, I'm saying the last time. I thought you asked.
Oh, and Shannon Cow, like he wrote on Facebook. He's like, I live just a couple of blocks away from there. I didn't know you were going to be there. And I'm like, fuck. That would have been really nice to hang out with Shannon Cow, or would have been interesting probably. How come the Cows didn't go see Bob Mould? Do they not get along?
It was a pricey show. And
We didn't even have anybody on the guest list. We could have put Shannon Cow on the guest list.
That's
Then he
right.
could have stage dove or something.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let him do that. He'd get hurt.
Didn't seem like a stage diving.
No, it was not. Oh my God. It was like a champagne show where people were like taking notes, right? Anyway, back to the walker. So when we went, so it's like the Walker art. It's not an art museum. It's like the art something or other, right? I can't remember. Do you remember what we saw there? Like the first floor, there were like 3 exhibitions. You call them exhibitions or exhibitions? Like the first 3 things that we saw were fantastic. So one of them, remember, like the one with the apology letters. The installation is called Ways of Knowing or something like that, right? So it was How Do We Know What We Know or something like that. It was like interesting, it was like the walking exhibition that they did here. It was like, normal words that you say every day, but it was used for an art exhibition. But anyway, the thing that I really liked was somebody had gone to Pompeii or something, the ruins of Pompeii. Is that what it was? And like they'd been an artist in residence or something like that, and they'd been looking through the archives, and people who had gone visiting, like tourists who'd gone visiting, had picked up little pieces of stuff from the site, like from the Pompeii site or something, and then many years later they'd returned them to Pompeii, like with an apology letter. So, and there's like a collection of this. So this person, like this artist, took like pictures of the little piece of like, a screw or something that somebody had stolen, or a couple of rocks or something, with an apology letter next to it with their apology. Dear sirs, please find this. I found these rocks in my dead husband's belongings, and they belong to Pompeii. So sorry. It was like a whole group of them. Yeah, Heidi. Oh, Heidi said, I love the apology letters. Thanks for sharing those.
Yeah, it was
Hi, Heidi.
Series of unusual collections.
Yeah, it was so good. Okay, Cody B says, who screwed who rules? April Smith says, hello, also from the Midwest. John Ross's birthday is today, and they say they are 36. All right. There we go. That's everything there. And Jalen Rab waves. Hi. And there's nothing on the RadioZero Facebook page. This is just all poster children stuff. Oh, we got another one. Jamie Tohill. I saw Bob Mould and his band last week in Madison, Wisconsin, with former Minneapolitan Craig Finn from the Hold Steady opening. Both sets were great. Yeah. So the walker was good. What was the other thing? Somebody found like a bunch of little bones and then had what were they?
Stuff. Was it bones or just rocks like weathered beach kind of rocks, pebbles, things like that in different shapes, and they collected them and made them into sentences, kind of like the shapes were code for words.
Yeah, that was beautiful, that thing. Yeah, and so like, and then like, so like kind of assumed that, like, it's like that movie. All right, here we go.
Circle. She's drawing a circle.
What's
First
the name?
word.
What's it? Denis Villeneuve.
Okay.
The movie he
Dune.
did before Dune.
Oh, Arrival.
Arrival. Yeah, it's like an Arrival thing, right? So, so this artist found like a bunch of these things and then decided to make like a language out of them. Like decided that they were a language and then decoded the language into sentences, and the sentences are beautiful. Those you can probably see this stuff on the Walker site, right? I'm imagining. Like and then what was the other thing? Pictures with glitter on them, which any picture with glitter on it gets me. that was like sort of storyboards of I can't remember. And as we went up the Walker, like you go up more and more, and there was like things were getting more and more like dark. I felt like.
Well, and then they had stuff from the permanent collection on the upper floors.
Yeah.
My thing was and I don't know if this is a trend or whatever, but is the kind of idea and there was a kind of, I liked the documentary, but there was a documentary, and then there was a exhibit of just a dump of someone's, photos and videos.
Yeah.
Basically from their phone, like
Like a huge dump of
10
every
years.
Yeah.
And then it's and that idea of, and then there was a documentary that was kind of, it was a little more structured, but a documentary with just lots of footage and kind of just put together, not and that's more kind of arty, that it felt a little bit like the Glenn Gould radio documentaries, right, where they're kind of impressionistic kind of thing. But that idea of just collections of stuff that hasn't really been edited or reduced, it's just this massive dump of stuff, and then you just kind of randomly sift through it, or it's randomly presented to you.
It's just there, and then your existence in it, your intersection with it is like random. So like, oh, okay, I saw it.
And I'm a little on the fence about that kind of stuff, where it's really just like, oh, it's kind of like it feels like being overwhelmed by the fact that you have all this stuff, but then you can't winnow it down into something, I don't know, meaningful, I guess.
Yeah. Did you?
And
you
so,
felt like it was lazy art?
I guess the expectation of, the editing, right? And then but it's not even that the audience is the author, or right? Like, you're removing authorship. It is kind of like, I've captured all of this information, but I'm just going to show you this gigantic mountain of digital media, and you get something out of it.
So, all right. So let me ask you to compare and contrast that, or mostly contrast that with the Andy Warhol, like 24-hour sleep video, whatever that is. What is it? 24 hours, or it's people sleeping? I can't remember.
Sleep.
Yeah, sleep.
Or Eiffel Tower. Sorry, Empire State.
Yeah.
Right. Those films. Well, I guess that was 50 or 60 years ago, and then those are. I mean, I don't know. That's a kind of form of minimalism, I guess. It's, to me, not maximalism. It's the opposite. And it isn't curated, and it isn't edited. It is actually edited. I think sleep is 4 2-hour clips repeated, right, into 8 hours to make a night's sleep. But it's, I don't know. I think those are different things.
Okay.
Andy Warhol's boxes, right, his archives, in quotes, right, where he'd have the box, and then every month he would dump the contents of his desk into a box and put it away, right, and store it. I mean, I would say that's maybe more like it, and that's fine, and it's interesting, but it's also, and I guess that's intentional artwork, but it is more kind of just storage, or I don't know.
I see the boxes. To me, that's different, because that's stuff he's collected all through. Like, he's just collected stuff. Maybe people gave stuff to him, or he just found things that were of interest to him. Whereas this artist is just all just video of her, right? Like,
well, it's just stuff that she's been doing, right? So pictures, family photos.
Yeah.
Visiting other art. Well, at least that's the part I saw. Visiting some artist's studio and videotaping them, like doing a print.
Yeah.
And
it was
it's
kind of interesting.
It's interesting.
That's actually, like, so when I read what it was, I was like, fuck this. How come she gets to do that and nobody else does? And why is she so special?
And to me, and that's you talk about Warhol, right? Yeah. And so, and that was the thing, is like all the stuff that Warhol was doing, taking, recording constantly, taking photographs constantly, right? Just documenting everything, and it's a precursor to the kind of social media. But my argument was but it was because he could afford and spent the money on this gear and this equipment to do this stuff. Right. Before it was just like, not everybody could burn through 2 packs of Polaroids a day, or walk around with a tape recorder all the time and record everything that had been said, and so it's like, yeah, there's I guess there's some art there and it's conceptual or whatever, but it's like, but that was, again, that 50 years ago, and now we've got this world where everyone's doing that, and then it's like, I guess then it calls into question the artist. But to me, it just feels like I've got all this shit and I can't, I don't know what to do with it. And I guess that's, and putting that into a gallery and, framing it is just the same way as, putting a urinal in the gallery and signing it, I guess. It's that. But to me, it's kind of like,
Because it was a lady artist.
Well,
oh no,
yeah.
I know. No, I know. I'm joking. I'm making fun of
What's
you.
his
Of course.
name? Putting up his Instagram. Doing prints of his Instagram.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
that's it's kind of like, oh, that was like what 10 or 15 years ago now, and it's like, okay.
What I thought was really interesting that was Salavan, was that Jason Salavan, or was that some?
I don't.
Yeah. Well, so but what I I read the thing. I was like, oh, okay, it's just a dump of 25 hours of like everything that's on all of her cameras that work right now. And so and you were in there, so I was like, oh well, if Rick's in there, I better go sit in there, because I might miss some art. And then so I sat down in there and I watched for a while, and I was like, and I was in a pissy mood by the time I got to that floor, because I was like, what is this? And then, but then while I was watching it, I was like strangely intrigued. It was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. It was like really intriguing. So, and then I was surprised that I was intrigued. And so that to me was the art. I was like, oh, well, I'm surprised now. So, I don't know. And then there was something else that I really didn't like at all. I don't remember what, something like some Joy Division thing. I realize I don't think I like video art at all. It's I don't like it. I don't think I've ever seen any that I liked, because you have to sit there and wait for it. It's a pain in the ass.
I can't click to the next.
Well, no. I mean, I don't think I like it.
I mean, I feel like how is that different? You don't like painting either? I mean, like looking at a painting?
No, I like looking at a painting.
But because the painting, you can spend as much time or as little time as you want, whereas like with video art,
you got to sit there
and experience it,
Yeah.
and not just drop in. But you can drop in. Yeah.
You can, but then you're going to miss something. You don't get to see the whole thing. You especially the 25-hour art thing. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I've never like, I'm like, when I get to like, you're walking through an art museum and it's like, oh no, there's another fucking black room, and you got to walk in there. And then something's playing and people are sitting in there already, and you don't know, somebody might be kissing somebody else too, like, in there, because it's black. And then you don't know where you're going to sit, and somebody might have put their gum there, and then you got to sit down, and then it's like, then you got to watch the thing, and you don't know where you've come into. Have you come into the beginning of it or the middle of it or the end of it? It's terrible. I hate video art.
Well, I think there's some that is not meant to be experienced as a linear thing and with the beginning and end, right? And you can just kind of dip in.
Yeah, what's the 24-hour Psycho? That I like, because I know what it is.
Yeah.
That one's okay. Like, what are some other... I hate... He's a truck driver. I'm making fun of my dad now. Like, may he rest in peace. So in my book, I was making fun of my dad, like what my dad would think about this Jean Dubuffet, like painting that looks like somebody rubbed poo on a canvas, like, and put like there's like broken glass in it and glitter and I think and stuff like that. And I was like, I was like thinking, what my dad would be like. That looks like somebody rubbed shit on it, and then I'd be like, but it's sparkly, Dad. And I remember talking to him. I got to talk to him before he died about that. Dad, what would you think about a painting like this? And he said, I think I would like it. And I was like, fuck, I have to go change my book now. But maybe he had read the book. He had read it. Maybe he had changed. All right. April Smith says celebrity edition of the TV show Hoarders.
Yeah. I mean,
oh, I'd watch that. Is there such a thing?
No.
Oh.
That's that idea. It's like some like all of their stuff, but it's
Yeah.
somebody's digital stuff, and you're kind of watching it.
Okay. So like I would actually, if it was a giant pile of stuff, like actual stuff that you could touch or like was 3D and wasn't on video, I would like that too. I'd be fine with that. I love big piles of stuff art. Do I like any video art?
I don't know. You said no.
Now I feel like an asshole.
What was interesting though is that like the guy that the docent or whatever, the guy who at the beginning who talked to us about it, said they'd redone all of the permanent collection and put a whole bunch and it is definitely different. Like he was talking about all the stuff that used to be up,
Well,
and it's like
that's another
and that's all
reason.
that you were asking
I know,
about.
I come
is
in,
there a
you
Dan
gotta- I
Flavin?
know,
Is there this? Is there that? And it's like nope, it's
another-
all gone.
that's
it's all
another-
a bunch of post 2000 stuff by a mixture of people
I
instead
know.
of a bunch of dead white men.
I know, I felt really bad too. Like I was like, you got it. Is there a Rauschenberg here? Just because I want to see more Rauschenbergs in my life.
Yeah,
I want to
but
see
there-
more.
There are
and then
plenty
you-
of museums you
I
can go to,
know.
and so that was interesting. I mean, it
Yeah.
was more. I guess it's like the Museum of Contemporary Art.
Are they going to play Mozart? That's what I came in there. Are they going to play Beethoven's Ninth or Mozart or the Star Wars theme? That's what I said basically, except about art. He was like, no, but they're going to play other songs with the same notes in them. Maybe you'll like them.
I want art from a little like maybe 1963 to 1980 by white men.
Well, all of it is by white men.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
I don't want abstract expressionism though. I don't
No,
want the
I hate-
earlier
yeah.
post-war white men. I want a
Agree.
little later.
Agree.
I want pop art,
Yeah.
Fluxus.
I'm okay with pop art, but I prefer Fluxus. I like Donald Judd. I like my Flavins. I'm good. I cried at the Flavins. Give me more Flavin. Give me Terrell or give me Depp.
Flavin! Jerry Lewis running through the galleries.
We may have lost the non-art crowd, the non-poser art crowd. All right.
Well, you're
anyway,
being a poser.
exactly. I'm being the poser. So but yeah, like it's somewhere in the second, like, the ones we were talking about, like the person who did the language of the rocks and stuff. I was like, oh, I'm such an asshole for asking if there was a Flavin here. But there was.
Well, that was
yeah.
that was the that was
the new stuff,
yeah,
like the featured artist.
like a
Yeah.
not part of the permanent collection.
Okay, so then after we did that, we drove across something, and we saw the co-op, the Minneapolis co-op. We were in Minneapolis. There was a co-op there. It was right across the street. And then we were like, Dow was like, I want pizza, and I was like, oh, okay. And I'm like looking up pizza places, and like it's like Square something pizza, and I was looking at the prices, and I was like, okay, hipster pizza. And we had parked right outside like a place that did not look like hipster pizza.
The Leaning Tower of Pizza.
Yeah. And so we went in there, and it wasn't that good.
It was perfect. It was old school.
It was totally old school. Yeah.
Pizza place.
Yeah.
And the pizza was really fast because it was 2:00 in the afternoon, and we were the only ones there.
We were the only ones there,
Except
and
for there was somebody at the bar.
there was Christmas lights up too. That was really nice. Right? And right on the, man, I love Minneapolis. I always used to love playing like at the Uptown and stuff like that. We'd go, and I was telling Dow too, I was like, okay, every time we would go to Minneapolis, like we'd stay at somebody's house, and it'd always be an old house with wood floors, and there'd be chandeliers in it, which is what we live in now. Like we live in an old house with chandelier. The chandelier that's in this room is green. It's a green plastic chandelier with, I guess I put shit all over it. It's got like flowers on it, and okay, it's got test tubes with colored liquid, and yeah, it is kind of weird. But that's what I remember about Minneapolis. And then the girls would all wear like these house dresses. Like they'd wear like these 60s house dresses. I used to love that. And then you'd play. Everybody was very, very, looked very nice. Rick turned on the chandelier. So we were walking down the street, and we were looking for thrift stores, right? That's what we were going to do, right? after we went to the Leaning Tower Pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thrift stores are like, kids like them now.
They're back.
They're back, yeah.
Except a T-shirt costs, a used T-shirt costs $28 to $30.
No, it was like you can get a Led Zeppelin shirt for $60 now.
And I think some of them were double stitched, right? So that's the clue or the key, which I learned about recently, is the older shirts with the higher quality stitching. Those are valuable.
So there's
anything that was made in the past 30 years is crap. But if you can find real vintage T-shirts, they're highly valuable. These didn't seem like they were at that level. Maybe that's the $60 ones were actually from 80s and earlier.
Yeah. All right. Fadrik Thurb says, "What beautiful microphones! I want the same ones. Where are they from? Are there lots of colors?"
These are just regular Shure SM58 microphones.
Not
but
a sponsor.
Then there's a company that does painting. I can't remember. It's like so the kind of company
painted?
They do. You can get all sorts of things colored, like I think like phones and stuff too, or something. Maybe, I don't know, but it's like I can't remember what the company is called, but you can just order stuff, and so they have a variety of colors. Sorry, I don't know the name of the company, but if you just search for colorways, Beta 58, SM58 microphones, you can find it. All right. For those of you listening, we have a mint green and a Barbie pink microphone when we're live streaming.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. We should. Have we ever played? Are these microphones that we would use to play a show with?
I was thinking we would do that, but then I decided no, probably not. Maybe we could.
Did you bring? I don't remember.
I did bring the microphones,
Yeah.
but we did not use them.
Ah, okay.
The other microphones.
So, all right. Well, so let's talk about the show. So, what did we go? Was it that same day that we went to the Walker and we walked around there and then we did the thrift shopping, right? And then we probably went to the show, right? I got to see Bob Mould sound check, and he was just getting over a cold. You know, have you seen his Facebook posts? He posts a picture of him. He takes it like a straight on picture of himself. He's so
With
nice
coffee.
looking. Yeah, with coffee.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and it's always, and then underneath it's got his thoughts. It's like thought bubble.
Coffee thoughts.
Yeah, it's really interesting. They were very nice to us, right? Who else? You know the other guys. Okay, so this is really embarrassing. I didn't realize who's the Super Chunk drummer. What's his name?
John Worster.
Yeah, I didn't realize John Worster. I didn't realize that he was on tour. Like, Salaryman went on tour with Superchunk, right?
Yeah, in
Europe. And so, all right. So when we got to the
venue.
now I got just
The Palace.
Yeah, when we got to the Palace Theater, 2,500 seat theater, huge place, right? We got there and we're backstage, and so the first thing I do is I always look for the penis and balls. Right, because there's always graffiti backstage, and so you have to look for the penis and balls, and you always find it. Sometimes you find a disembodied penis. There's always balls. There's pretty much always balls attached to it, and if it's spurting, then it's good luck. And so I found it like right away. I found the penis and balls, and it was spurting, so it's good luck. And so then the three guys, so Jason Narducci and Narducci. And John Worster and Bob Mould were all sitting in their dressing room. They're like just sitting and reading like geeks, which is what we would do too. And they were on tour. They'd been on tour for a long time, so they were tired. This was their last night too, and so they were going to have like 5 days off. They're going to go home. So they're tired. And I peek in there, and I'm like, hey, guys, there's a penis and balls right there. You know, the first thing I ever do when I get into a club is I look for the penis and balls. And I think one of them said, so do we. And I went, oh, that's funny. But we look for the real one. That's what they said. It's something like that. And I was like, oh, that's very funny. But then I was talking about the different peni that you would see. Sometimes you would see two of them, crossed and stuff. And then once in a while you see three of them in a trident formation. And it's amazing. And I was going to go into more detail about how we saw that in Norway forgetting that like he was there.
John. Yeah.
And I wrote about it in my book too. And so like later on, you're like, that's John Worcester from Superchunk. Remember we went on tour? He was like, "Who's your drummer now? Where's Howie?" And I was like, "Howie's still in this band that we played this other band, Salary Man." And he was like, "What?"
He didn't remember.
Or he
no,
was
no,
like,
he probably
"Why are
didn't.
you?"
That was
telling
25 years ago. Yeah, and John's not in. He's no longer playing with Superchunk. It's been a few years now.
All right. Well,
But
and then
still,
who's
yeah.
then? So Jason, who let me?
Chicago guy. Yeah.
I hate not knowing these people. Like I need. So remember
Well,
Veep?
being 25 years off the road, not on the circuit,
Yeah,
you don't. Although, yeah, all those people. Well, no, I mean,
No, I don't
not
know them
necessarily.
though. Yeah, I would know my Heidi. Like if we were playing with Heidi with the Heidi band.
Well,
we
we've
would
seen
know
them
her.
more recently.
Yeah.
Like
well,
John,
no, I would.
haven't seen for 25 years since that tour in Europe with Salary Man.
He did kind of look the same.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I asked him about his regimen because he's playing well, and I as an old person, I'm curious, and I'm always curious about drummers. And he said he's just kind of flowing. He's not really doing anything different except he's taking turmeric.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, then Matt was like, "I take turmeric." Matt, does Matt take turmeric? Yeah.
I don't know, but
No, he does, and we have
yeah.
we have to coordinate on our turmeric, the amount of turmeric we take.
Mm-hmm. Because you don't in a band you don't want people's turmeric levels to clash. Everyone's got to be at the same level.
No, okay, that's like my vitamins and this is funny because my Dr. Troopin, she's like I'm going to look into all these different supplements to figure out what I should be telling my patients.
And I just want to say, say what you want about the newer Black Flag records, but My Vitamins is my favorite out of all those records.
Right. So anyway, so when my turmeric is like a giant, it's like a head-sized bottle of turmeric, like giant horse capsules, brown inside because it's just fucking turmeric, right? And then when you look on it, and I have to have like 3 different pairs of reading glasses to read the label, and I have no idea why because it's a head-sized label of turmeric, so you could have bigger than 0.3 size font, right, or 3-point font. But anyway, it says when I read it, it usually says take 1 to 3 capsules 3 times daily of this. So it's like I don't know how much is in there. So I have to and I was like, "Matt, do you have to take 3 capsules of yours?" And he said, "No, I only take 1." And I'm like, "Did you look though at the serving size?" And he was like, "Oh no." So we're gonna have to.
But that's what they always say on those bottles. Take at least 10 per day.
Yeah.
It's
wash your hair twice.
Yeah.
So did you? What did you guys talk about? Because I know I went upstairs and Bob had said that you guys had already checked in with them. So what did you guys talk about?
I talked to Jason we talked about live music on television, especially the Bob Mould Band appearance on David Letterman.
Oh,
I couldn't remember what it was on, but it was David Letterman where the roof started, or debris started falling from the rafters while they were playing.
Yeah, that's cool.
And if you haven't seen it, it's a great. I was talking about how it was kind of an amazing moment where it was like, ooh, I've seen a lot of rock performances on television, and the kind of modern thing. They're a lot of times they're boring and everything like that, and then seeing the Bob Mould Band. So this was 10 or 11 years ago. It was like, oh wow, it was really intense. And he said it was a little crazy, but like the intensity came through, and it was like a time warp where it was like almost like they were representing what rock and roll was. And I sound like an old man, but it was like seeing a pipeline where it was like, oh yeah, that's what it used to be. Yeah, like seeing Husker Du in a small club, right? And that intensity of that indie rock thing, and that coming through the TV. It was it's one of the top 10 televised music things I've ever seen.
You know, and you talk. I even have I have a quote from you in my book about seeing the Clash on Tom Snyder or Fear.
Amazing.
No, Fear.
I just watched that again.
So
just recently.
you
Clash on Tom Snyder. So this is the thing. There's the Clash on tomorrow. Tom Snyder, the best. Clash on Fridays, amazing. Clash on Saturday Night Live, atrocious, right? And it was such a disappointment to see them. They just kind of goofed up and they were falling apart, right? And it was so disappointing. I haven't watched it in a long time, but that Saturday Night Live appearance, it was after Rock the Casbah, and I think Mick Jones was about to end, right, the Mick Jones era, but it was such a disappointment to see such a powerful band kind of start seeming like fuck ups, kind of.
I think you have a book proposal here. I laugh all you want, but you really look at you.
And talking to talking to Jason about Joe Jackson on Saturday Night Live singing not Night and Day, Another World. It's really amazing too. And some of that is hard. So yeah, there's some really great Saturday Night Live stuff that's harder to find because it was during the era, the non-Lorne Michaels era. So like Captain Beefheart. Yeah, we talked about Captain Beefheart because he knew, what's his name? Eric, the guy who was in Per Ubu and Captain Beefheart's band, had talked to him. Eric Friedman, is that his name? I can't remember his name, but yeah, Jason was saying that, talking about that show. Oh, and then the fact that Fear also, and Fear shared a rehearsal space with Captain Beefheart or something. And so there was like all these connections to these two great, Saturday Night Live moments. Anyways.
Book proposal, bands performing live on TV shows.
I think there's probably a lot of books about that.
Do you? Because that sounds like, what's that book? What's that series?
33 and a Third.
Yeah, I think you could do a 33 and a Third.
Yeah.
So, I talked to Bob Mould, a little bit about, because we're friends, a little bit about their performance, their just recent performance, and he said they were so nice to them. What was it like? It was an NBC.
Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, whatever Jimmy it was.
It was Jimmy Fallon.
He said that they were, because they saw them come in and they didn't have extra shit. And it's okay. April Smith is saying Wendy O. Williams.
Was that? I'm trying to remember what that was. Was that the Tomorrow Show too? Was that Tom Snyder also? Because I saw that. The Plasmatics. That was nuts.
April also said, and
then, not playing, talking about Martin Atkins and just John Lydon and Keith, frick, I lost his name. From
Morris?
Public Image Limited on Tom Snyder not performing, just the performance, the talking, that's classic too.
Yeah, that's
Tom Snyder
more part
was,
of it.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Tom Snyder was pissed because they were messing with him. They were making him put bands on, and then they had Rona Barrett show up, like she was doing like West Coast stuff. It was like at the tail end of the Tomorrow Show before, he got replaced by Letterman, and then it's always. Yeah, Keith Levine, thank you. It's Levine. always he was already edgy, and then it was like that last year or two of the Tomorrow Show, he's just totally. Although from what I remember, it's been a while since I watched the Clash interview. He's really into the Clash guys, like because they're, I think, he was told that they were sort of politically engaged or something. So for him, I feel like he wasn't an asshole to them. But I can't remember. I have to watch all of it again. There's a collection of Tomorrow Show rock clips.
The fact that you can just talk like this about it, and you're so engaged, and I can see your body language. You're like interested. That should be just a really quick, easy book, and I could be the editor.
Easy book.
I could be the editor. April Smith says, going to see the Russian protest band Pussy Riot on Sunday. My first live show since January 21st. That's cool. Cody B says thinks it's funny that the penis and balls drawn on the wall, if it has a spurt, that's good luck. Danon reminds us that Para Ubu singer David Thomas died on Wednesday. And yes, Jamie Tohill says Levine.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember. I feel like Para Ubu was on. So there was the show that Jules Holland hosted it for a little bit. I mean, the American one, right? And then it was David Sanborn. What was that called? Like Sonic Youth was on it, and they'd have like these crazy jam sessions. It was a music show. I think it was on Sunday nights for a while. It was also related to Saturday Night Live. I think it was the Lorne Michaels thing. I think. God, what was it called? Night music? I feel like was that the Para Ubu? I'm trying to think because Para Ubu, was not on TV a lot.
Was he a Nazi?
No.
Oh, okay. I got him mixed up with
in
somebody else.
1975. You have a song called "Final Solution." It's different.
No,
it's
I
different.
understand.
Although he was he a Seventh Day Adventist or a Jehovah's Witness? What was he?
Well, it could have been a Nazi then. It's a great song. I love that song.
Yeah. What was he? I can't remember. Anyways.
I think you should write that book.
Just me talking about, that was really great. Writing a book about this stuff, there would have to be more detail. And why would anyone want to read a book about it? Why wouldn't they just watch a YouTube?
Because people would love a book
Why
about
wouldn't they just watch a YouTube? Just go and watch a YouTube. Why don't you take it easy and go watch a YouTube? Go back to watching your YouTube.
How was your how's your class teaching lately?
Lately?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's
What have
the
you
end
heard?
of the semester.
Oh. Yeah, we're definitely. I always say spring semester is like running downhill. It's like it goes. It's just you tumble. It goes, and then all of a sudden you're running, and then you're kind of somersaulting like Buster Keaton with a bunch of boulders behind him. It's like that to me is what spring semester is. So right now I'm running and leaping over rocks, and they're about to roll over me, but then all of a sudden I'll be at the bottom of the hill, and all the boulders will be gone, and it'll be summer.
And I'll be there with you. I'm excited. July 1st. All right. So we had fun playing with Bob Mould, and then like after we finished playing, it was a huge stage. Did you like the stage? You know what I loved about that stage? That we were set up in front, so Matt was set up we were in a line. I love when we're in a line and there's plenty of room to run around. I got a little tired.
There was a review of the show, and part of it was talking about me talking. And he said, you're not supposed to talk during a show. And it was like, does that mean the audience or the band? And I was like, I didn't even think of that. But definitely like the audience was very stoic.
Oh, yeah.
And then saying happy birthday. And then it was like, and for some reason they did it twice. He sang happy birthday twice for Rose.
Did you?
Yeah, we did it twice. And that's the thing is it's my thing now is to torture the drummer. We do that. I do that to Matt now, and I've done it with Salaryman. Is like if a song starts with the drums and it's towards the end of the set, I'll just wait and do something.
That was terrible.
Or dance,
but they're so freaked out.
them.
Like especially Matt was like really freaked out about his arms. You shouldn't. And then I was like pointing to his arms. I'm like, Rick, look at his arms. And the monitor guy's like, what? Do I have to turn up the monitor guy's like, what?
Yeah.
He's just like, the monitors were great. Okay, so that's why you did it. You did it to torture poor Matt. That's terrible.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's
funny for you. It's not that
it's
funny because that's not funny. What do you?
It is. It's a rock thing, too. Also, it's like, okay, everybody.
You're fired.
Yeah, no, it's like.
And then people came up to me afterwards and said, "You don't look a day over 70. You look good for 70."
So I did not announce your age.
I know.
And then you said,
"Do I look 70?"
No, you said that's why people were so astounded when you said you were, 70. It was like,
did I say I was 70?
Yes, you said 70, so everybody was gravitating towards that.
That's right. I remember I did say 70. Okay.
I was very polite. I said it's a landmark birthday that ends with a 0. I'll let you figure it out.
I don't look 70 though.
No,
Jesus
you don't.
Christ.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
That would be terrifying.
Yeah.
If you were 70.
So anyway, that
It
was
would be like a vampire situation.
Yeah.
People would be. You would have to.
Yeah.
What's that movie where? Yeah, you'd have to
eat somebody's
disappear,
heart.
pretend you're dead, and restart a life somewhere else. You'd have to move to another country and pretend. Yeah.
Oh, and the drummer from Babes in Toyland was there afterwards.
Lori.
We got to hang out with her. And what other? Oh, and so Greg Norton was there, and like, so I was like, wow, Greg Norton's there. You know, he came up and hung out with us or with me for a while. And I got to meet his new girlfriend, and that was cool. She's in a band. Her name is Cece. And she brought a book, and I had to sign my book for her. So that was
nice.
really, really, really sweet. Yeah. Oh, and then they're going to be playing. Oh, that's right. He's on May 18th, our anniversary. Greg Norton's going to be playing in Chicago with.
Is it the Husker Dudes or is it
something?
else?
It's like some
Or
Husker
it's a
Dudes,
Husker Dude
and then
karaoke.
Yeah, they're going to do karaoke, and then we should sing. Man, I would learn a Husker Du song and sing it.
What was interesting was he was talking to Bob for a while.
Yeah.
Like just so they played like Bob the Bob Mould band played a few Husker Du songs.
Yeah, they played a bunch of all the best
actually,
ones.
Yeah, Celebrated Summer.
Yeah.
What else? Flip Your Wig and Makes No Sense at All. And what did they play from Zen Arcade? Something I Learned Today. Is that what?
Something I Learned Today. Yeah, they played all those songs. They may have played another one too.
And that's weird. That's got to be weird.
Yeah.
To see. I mean. Yeah,
but he's been doing it forever. He did that in Urbana too.
No, I'm talking about Greg Norton though, like sitting there watching that, and then watching them talk afterwards. It's got to be weird.
Yeah, and like but Greg Norton gets to play those songs too. It's like they're like everybody gets to play the songs.
And
I guess.
they do a yearly Grant Hart kind of tribute show in Minneapolis.
Yeah,
he had just played that.
Yeah, but so every time they play an old Husker Du song, I would run it's like a half a block. I'd have to run all the way down to the stage and like do the thing where you're yelling the lyrics and pointing your finger. Something I learned today. It was every single time they played an old song. I gotta run over there. There was like one other person like jumping up and down with me, like oh my God,
another old man.
Then another
70-year-old.
Go back. Right, I'd go back behind the bar because it was kind of loud, and like sit there and like stare at Greg Norton for a while, and then when they got to the next one, I love Greg's bass parts. Because he doesn't play I don't know what this. I need to talk to Roy about this, to figure out what is this note? What is it called when you don't play the bass part of the
It's called
playing a G
in rock and roll. It's called wrong.
Okay,
that's what it's called.
Exactly.
It's called a mistake.
Let's say they're playing a G major chord, and Greg Norton will play a B there. It's that da 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 da.
It's good.
Cool.
It's a Beach Boys Paul McCartney thing.
Fuck Paul McCartney. No, he's still alive, right? It's kind of nice, and I've seen him. He's not bad. I don't like the Beatles, but he's okay, I guess. 'Cause he's old and he's a sir, right? Anyway, so I was getting ready to run down there again, and I was like, God, those bass parts so great. And then I was like, it's kind of weird that guy is standing up there playing Greg Norton's bass part.
It's not though, because if you think about it, if Greg Norton was up there, it would be like a Husker Du. It would be Husker Du kind of without Grant Hart, and so I understand it. It would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no.
Maybe that's why they're not playing together.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Totally.
Oh.
It would be. It would be. I mean, I guess it would be great, but it would be also. Oh, who's the drummer? Is it John Worster? Oh, John Worster's the new Husker Du drummer. And it's like what? No, and it just would tumble into complexity. It's like I just always talk about this is Brian Eno when he played with Brian Ferry on I think it was the last Brian Ferry record, and he was just like, I'm gonna have to fucking talk about this. One day I was in the studio for the rest of my life. Now he was just like, ugh. Everybody's gonna talk about this Roxy Music reunion, and it's There's a lot of baggage.
So we got Danny Ingram says here, I'm going to report you to the Society for the Protection of Drummers. And also happy birthday to me. And Cody says, Zen Arcade.
Yeah.
And Heidi says happy birthday. Thanks, Heidi.
Celebrate
all right.
summer though, man. That was It's like it was touching because having seen that song, that summer, I saw. When was the first time I saw Husker Du? I think it was the New Day Rising tour at the Cubby Bear. So that would have been the summer of '85, I think.
Show off.
Yeah, but it's like, and then realizing, how powerful that song was, and it was, a song, in a band when you're 18 or whatever, however old I was, 18, and it resonates and everything like that, and then seeing him play that song 40 years later, and then it was a little overwhelming.
So I got to see it just a couple of months ago because he played it at the Rose Bowl. He played Celebrated Summer.
Yeah.
And then it was me and whoever else was left over from Urbana. I was probably Ward, or I don't remember if it was, I'm sorry, Ward, Chris Green. I don't remember which one of you guys it was because I was drunk off my ass. And
it was 1985.
And I wasn't drunk.
No,
but I just can't remember. Maybe both of them were there. I think it was Chris Green. I can't remember. I'm sorry, guys. I can't remember because
it's like a Slaughterhouse 5 situation where you can't tell if it's 1985 or 2024.
But we were all, and there were other people there too. We were like, oh my God, he's playing Celebrated Summer, and I was yelling all the words, but I was standing right in front of him because it was a tiny club. But yes, I know how you feel, but actually I like hearing you talk about it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Danon says, I had a lesson with Joe Lally a couple hours ago, and he was talking
nice.
about the genius of Lennon and McCartney. What kind of lesson was it? A Beatles lesson?
Bass lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Paul McCartney, you listen to what was going on. It's like after Pet Sounds, I think. Yeah, the Paul McCartney bass lines, he's definitely, not playing the note.
Oh, am I going to have to listen to the fucking Beatles now?
What
song is it?
You can actually hear the bass.
What song is it?
With the remixes and remasters. All the songs, basically everything after 1965.
So Twist and Shout?
No, that's...
What are the Beatles songs?
The traditional, right?
Yeah.
And then, so I don't think there's... I'm trying to think if it happened yet with Revolver.
Yellow Submarine?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. But definitely Sgt. Pepper and the White Album and Abbey Road.
Yeah, maybe I do.
Maybe not so much
the
Let It Be stuff.
I like
Husker
Du better.
Yeah, no, it's a different... That's the thing is that in the kind of more, hardcore, post-hardcore genre, right? It's different. And it's also, actually listening to the way Bob Mould's guitar sound. I mean, he has a full range, right? And that's a power trio thing too, but there's room. And it's similar to, I guess that was kind of happening with Dinosaur too.
Yeah.
Where you had room because there was so much density in the low end with the guitar also.
Yeah, actually
you could weave in and it wouldn't, whereas in more kind of traditional punk rock, you need the bass playing that bass note because the guitars are a little more. Now I'm tucking myself into a corner saying the Husker Du guitars sound bassy, and that's not the case at all. But live it was. There was a much wider kind of range, and especially Bob's current sound. There's a lot of low end in it.
I had to play through orange amps or orange cabinets.
That was interesting too. Yeah,
it didn't matter because it was so loud.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous, and it was nice because the acoustic amp is blue. This like sea blue, not mint green, but sea it's just this aqua blue, and then the orange cabinets are so orange. It was very very U of I. April's telling me happy 40th birthday.
Yeah,
I'm
there we
60.
Go. All right. I think we're good.
I have to burp. Okay, there I burped. Oh, Handmaid's Tale, yay or nay? Yeah, you're not watching it. We made it through the first Andor episode yesterday. There were so many different plot, like 5 different things going on. It was very exciting.
And it was getting a little first, or whatever it is. What do you call the 3 movies?
Oh, a little
The-
prequely.
A little prequely with the talking
Oh yeah,
people
yeah.
sitting at a table talking about stuff, meetings. It's like every frickin' filmmaker, once they get to a certain level, they start making movies about meetings. It's just like write what you know.
All right.
Okay, we're gonna sit around a table. We're gonna have everybody plotting and sitting and a bunch of meetings.
Hey, it worked for. Oh no, what's the Russian movie? Fuck. My
I
Dinner
had a
with
funny-
Andre.
My dinner, the Russian movie.
No,
My
okay.
Dinner with Andre. The Russian movie.
What's the other movie where they're talking about
Uncle
doing-
Vanya. You're talking
Yeah.
about Uncle Vanya.
See,
on
I was right.
the Wallace Shawn.
Thank you.
Yeah. What is it called? Uncle Vanya on? Is it on 42nd
on
Street?
42nd Street.
Yeah.
Wait, what movie did I say before that?
My Dinner with Andre.
Is Wallace Shawn in that too?
Yeah. Oh,
Thank
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Okay, see? Sometimes I surprise myself. And other times I surprise myself also.
Oh, I surprised myself.
All right.
It's like
well,
walking by a mirror at night, and
that happens. Yeah.
getting startled by your reflection.
That actually happened in Andor. There was like this sort of sweep, like they're like establishing shots of like a bunch of not Gen X, but like people, like teenage, like a higher than teenagers, like hanging out. They're rebels. They're like in like a little rebel tent, a little rebel yurt. like the camera passes a mirror and there's this guy. It's like, it's really. Do you remember that?
I don't, but
you have to rewatch it. It was pretty funny. It was like, who's that? That's me. It was cool. I don't know who's making Andor, but I'm appreciative of it.
Tony Gilroy.
Oh, that's right. I still appreciate it.
I thought the ending of the first episode was so my problem with Andor first season was
He
is
gets
that
so mad.
he made an 8-hour movie and then chopped it into 8 equal parts.
He had to.
And each episode would end in the weirdest way, where it would be like nothing's happening and the episode's order, or it's like we're building up to something happening. And then we're gonna cut it off, but not in a dramatic way, where it's just like wait, did the stream did the internet go down?
That's what. And so yesterday we were watching it, and I was like I was messing with the remote, and I accidentally turned it off, and I said, that's the end of the episode.
End of the episode. 30 minutes. Yoink. It's like, come on. It's the new golden era of television. You can make a 20-minute episode or a 50-minute episode. You just, get that episode, right in terms of dynamics.
Wait, so Joe Lally could teach me bass. I could learn bass. I don't know what the point is because I'm not playing bass now. I'll be playing it on May 24th, I guess. You know what I'd like, though? I'd like Todd Traynor to teach me drums.
Well, he does that, right?
Yeah.
Does he do it online also?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I
Everybody
think so.
does. Everybody
I
who
think
teaches
so.
instruments
How
teaches
could you
online.
How would that work, though? Man.
Roger Miller from Mission of Burma was doing guitar lessons, I know, for a while, but I don't know if he's still doing that. That piqued my interest.
Ooh,
But it would be embarrassing, to be, not good.
in front
not
of
that-
Roger Miller.
Yeah, not that he's like it's not like you would be getting lessons on how to play Eruption by Eddie Van Halen.
What do you like? So Dana, I need to know more about this. Like, do you just, hey Joe, how's it going? And then he's like, all right, let's start with scales. Dung 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 dung. Is that?
I feel like you've talked to Joe about his lessons.
how his lessons?
Yeah,
Well,
I feel
maybe
like
I'll have to.
you had a whole conversation with him about what he did, because he
Probably.
said he had learned music theory, or was that somewhere else where he had, during COVID he had
Yeah.
done a deep dive into music theory.
I want him to teach me how to. What is that? Spackle. What is that?
Stucco.
Stucco. Yeah.
I don't know if he's still
spackle.
doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, that's interesting. There's like in plastering, So there used to be a person in the neighborhood here that still did old time plastering. He was like 80 or 90 years old. Like, we live in a neighborhood with 100-plus-year-old houses, and yeah, he was the last person on earth, not really, but like in town who knew how to do plastering. Like, not okay, well, we're going to tear out all the plaster and put up drywall in your ceiling now. It was
I
like
can
actual.
plaster.
But I think there's a market for plastering now,
Yeah,
because
I'll
that guy is, I don't think he's either retired or has moved on to the great stucco house in the sky.
Mundo de verdade. Danon says that it is a lot about music theory. So he could tell you why Greg Norton plays a B instead of a G. Ask him next time. Yeah. All right, everybody.
All right.
We'll see you at Riot Fest. Ha, just kidding, we won't. But the